Streetwear icon, brand whisperer, former latchkey kid with a racing car bed. Today, I'm joined by Jeff Staple, the designer behind Nike's Pigeon Dunk. It was the shoe that sparked a riot and helped kick sneaker culture right into the mainstream. We talk about what it feels like to dig your own snow grave right on top of a mountain. Yes, that actually happened. Why a near-death moment can change how you take risks, and how Jeff turned Brooks from mum's running shoe, not that there's anything wrong with that, into a Paris Fashion Week moment. Along the way, he shares the habits that keep him grounded, how to reframe jealousy as social media plods along, and why sleep is now non-negotiable. We also geek out on Bruce Lee, cul-de-sac childhoods, and what really makes a brand cool. It's smart, it's funny, and it's surprisingly human. A reminder that this too shall pass, and sometimes the boldest move that we can ever make is just to wave everyone off and take the shot. This season of the Creative Boom podcast is proudly sponsored by James Cropper, the last mill standing in Britain for premium coloured paper. Its new colour source range puts designers first, giving you direct access to 50 stunning shades in a range of weights and textures straight from the mill. Incredible colour, crafted in the Lake District and delivered straight to your door. Discover the paper that brings your ideas to life via paperandpackaging.jamescropper.com. Jeff, it is so lovely to have you with us on the Creative Boom podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
There's a warm Manchester welcome for you.
I wish I was in Manchester.
Well, it's always sunny in Manchester.
Yeah, there's a beam of light coming, so I'm just trying to avoid this. Oh, it's moving now. I could actually center up. Okay, cool.
It's your morning and my afternoon. You know, I'm bringing the energy. I'm pretending that I've just got up and I'm bouncing around the room.
One more coffee, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. At 5 o'clock, yeah, let's do it. It's quite a nostalgic moment. I'm going to just lay it down. I was born in 1978, so the 90s for me were, really pivotal, lovely decade for me. They felt really warm. And whenever I look back, I always see those years as kind of a happy time. What do you think when you look back on the 90s? Everybody seems to be loving them at the moment.
Yeah, it's having a retro moment for sure. I was born, you said 78?
Yeah.
I was born 3 years before you. I was born in 75. And I actually just saw this post and I actually shared it it was basically saying people born between 1960 and 1985 are the most special generation that mankind will ever see from this point forward. Because, it's the only generation that grew up without the internet and then inherited the internet, but is still savvy enough to adapt to, Web3, blockchain, AI, VR, and all of that stuff. Whereas, the next generation didn't have the internet. The generation before that can't really grasp new tech. So we're like that special golden child. And I'd like to believe that. I'm sure many other generations would disagree with their own perspectives, but I like that stance. So I don't know, you asked about the 90s. I mean, to me, what draws the most heartfelt nostalgia is the 80s, actually. And I guess maybe that's because I'm 3 years before you. So the 80s to me was like really the cheesiness of it is what I love, but both eras were really good. I love the idea that decades kind of cycle and become like cool again. And that they always like, trends, fashion, music, whatever it is, kind of like recycle. And I love that.
Yeah, you spot on about the 80s. They felt very romanticized, didn't they? All the movies and the music. I get goosebumps when I, hear any kind of synthesizers from that era.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a favorite memory from that time? If you can think back that far.
I can. I mean, I was
That's British humor, by the way.
5. I was 5, 10 years old. I mean, that's the childhood innocence era, where nothing really mattered except your friends that you're going to play with after school that day. That was like the biggest milestone of your day. And that's a really beautiful, naive thought. In fact, I have like right over here behind my monitor, I have like pictures of me from when I was a kid because my therapist told me to do that. My therapist told me to put pictures of little Jeff when he was a kid so that, know that all of the things that you're doing and all the success you have, it's like it's for that little kid, you know.
Oh, that's
So
so
yeah,
cute.
yeah, I'm looking at little Jeff there. You know, it was a great era.
I love that we're already getting into the differences between British people and Americans because we just sweep it under the carpet and hope for the best, whereas you actually deal with your feelings.
Oh, look at it. Yeah, stick it in front of your face and look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something the counselors or therapists, as you call them, they always look up, don't they? They get you to talk to your inner child. What was little, I mean, has anyone ever asked you this question? What was little Jeff like?
Little Jeff didn't have like a whole lot of family nucleus network. So I'm an only child. I was the term in America is called a latchkey kid. Do you have that term in the UK?
No, no, I've not heard of it.
You know what a latchkey is? Like when you close the door and then you lock that chain. There's like the
Yes.
bolt and then there's that chain. That's called a latchkey. Okay, so
Yes.
a latchkey kid is a term where it means that both parents were working. And so they would leave the house with the kid alone at home and they would be like, okay, put the latch on now so that nobody can break into the house. And we're just going to leave you home alone for the next 8 hours. And we'll come
Wow.
back at night.
Gosh.
And don't open the door for anyone until we come back. That's a latchkey kid. So I was a latchkey kid. And I had no siblings. So my childhood was quite lonely. And, you know, I had to really kind of figure out how to amuse myself. But also, you know, it's tough doing it alone because you don't even have like somebody, you know, of course, nobody to play with and all the fun things. But I also think there's a lot of advantage to having somebody like beat you up and make fun of you too. Like there was no interaction. I had to make up all the good, all the bad, all the inspiring, all the non-inspiring, right? I had to like fabricate everything. And I will say that in a kind of sink or swim mentality, if you don't sort of create a world for yourself in that latchkey kid environment of being an only child, you know, you either become extremely imaginative or you become extremely depressed. And I guess I became very, very imaginative and I dove into like comic books and anime and cartoons and superheroes and stuff like that and sports, you know. But, you know, this is pre-internet, right? So we talked about that earlier. This is in the 80s. So I'm like looking at newspapers and magazines and stuff like that and like ripping out pages from the mag and sticking them up on the wall and everything. So that's how I sort of like triggered my imagination. And I guess you could say that if it wasn't for that, I might not be the sort of, you know, in the career that I'm in today, maybe.
Yeah, because you had to fend for yourself, I guess. You learned to be,
Yeah.
look after
Yeah, yeah,
yourself.
yeah. And I remember when I got a little bit older, like I might have been like 12 or 13. And, you know, this is like years now of just being a latchkey kid and not really having friends. Finally, like my dad had a talk with me and he was like, you need to make some friends. Like you need to go out and like, and it's funny, I took that command like a robot, like how you would prompt AI. I was just like, okay, let's go figure out how to make friends now, you know. And then I made some friends
Oh,
and then I had a small network of like, you know, 5 or 6 friends and it was awesome to take that instruction and sort of get some human interaction as well.
maybe you were like the Goonies.
Yeah, I mean, we had some fun out in like the driveways. It was all about. I lived in New Jersey. New Jersey is very suburban, so it was just about like whose driveway are you going to that day, and then are we playing basketball or baseball or football or hockey or whatever, you know. And then when the sun set, it was time to go home and then like do your homework and get dinner. That was life in New Jersey.
We were both cul-de-sac kids, Jeff.
Oh yeah, I was a cul-de-sac. Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
Wait, how
same.
did
It
you
was
know that? Did
great.
you know that?
Well, no, I did not. I just assumed that you lived in a
Wow.
cul-de-sac like I did, and it was great because you were safe and you could play out for hours and hours and hours until your dad came and stood outside and put his hands on his hips, right?
Yeah. Well, cul-de-sac, is that the round thing? Is that what you call it
Yeah,
too?
it's
Yeah, yeah.
closed off. It's safe.
Yes.
People would come in and everybody, oh, who's this in the car if it wasn't somebody that lived there?
Right. Exactly. Yes. I had that too.
Maybe it was that foundation and seeing your parents both work very, very hard, I presume, that kind of work ethic and being on your own and then having this sort of very safe environment probably made you into a person that could take risks.
Yeah, I am a very risk averse person.
You're risk averse.
Wait,
I
what
was
does
going to
that
say
mean?
the
What does risk
opposite.
averse mean?
That means you avoid risks.
Oh
I'm
no,
going
I'm
to
not. Well, how
you
do you say
embrace.
I take risk embracing? Is that what it's called?
You're just a risk taker.
A risk taker. Okay. Risk
Yeah.
averse versus thank you, English teacher. Okay. I am a risk taker. I can't say like I'm not a daredevil. Like I wouldn't say I love taking risks. Like I'm not base jumping or like ziplining
Oh
every
God,
day.
no.
But when faced with a debate or a challenge, I will tend to not go with the super safe choice. I'll go, if there's risk and then there's possible reward, I'll take the risk for sure. Did it stem from that? That's a great question. Maybe. You know where it stems from actually? We could get into this if you want, but I had a couple of like near death experiences like
Wow.
later on in life. Yeah. And I think going
What have
through
you been up to? What have you been doing, Jeff?
it was yeah, I went through two very distinct near death experiences, and that I think is what made me even more of a risk taker, because I realized then that like tomorrow is not promised, so you might as well just go for it.
Can you talk about those moments, or are they very
Sure.
private to you?
No, I can. I'll let you decide. Do you want there's two. One was very, very quick and the other one was very, very long. Which one do you want to
Oh,
start with?
let's start with the long one.
Okay, the long one was I'm an avid snowboarder, like
Nice.
hardcore snowboarder. Like I'll do helicopter snowboarding, and like we went to one trip was in Chile to the Andes Mountains, which is the
Beautiful.
second highest mountain range in the world behind the Himalayas and Everest. So we went to a mountain that was 19,000 foot elevation. And, as a reference, Mount Everest is 23,000 feet. So it's up there. And I was snowboarding with eight of my friends. And then I got lost. It was what it's called a whiteout storm, where
Yes.
basically a blizzard comes in on the mountain, and then you can't see up, down, left, or right. You're just in a room of pure white.
Snowboarder
Oh,
here.
cool. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was whiteout situation, and I got lost from the crew, and then I got to essentially a cliff. I rode to a cliff that was 19,000 feet up, and then realized, okay, have to stop here and then take my board off. The powder also was like waist high powder. So, as a snowboarder, once you stop in powder, you just sink down, right?
You do.
So I had to, and it's like quicksand. You're just like drowning in this mud of snow, essentially. So like, it's very, very, even talking about it like makes me asphyxiate a little bit, because it's very like suffocating. Like you're stuck, you can't move. And then now I have to somehow take my board off, buried 3 feet below, and then like strap it onto my back and then start hiking. And so I was stuck out there for 6 hours by myself, like in a Sahara desert of snow. And if I didn't get out of the situation by sunset, I would have likely died overnight, from hypothermia or dehydration, or, something that's freezing cold too. So it's just like a lot of lonely man walking through a white desert, essentially. Began
I shouldn't be laughing.
hallucinating. No, but I think you're laughing because you're a snowboarder, so you understand this situation well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started, hallucinating because of dehydration. Oh, you know what I did? That was a stupid move. I had a water bottle with like a small water bottle like this with half water left. And then I drank the whole thing. Of course, I finished it. And then I started putting snow into it and then like shaking it to get more liquid. But I then, after further research, that's not a good idea. Like that's like being stuck in the ocean and then just drinking the water in the ocean. It's like highly salinated water that's dehydrating you even further. So I was doing that. Yeah, hallucinating, seeing crazy. I would see rock formations turn into people. Like I was really like losing my mind. And then like I dug a 6-foot grave for myself and I laid in it. Like just dug a hole.
You just sort of accepted.
Yeah, I just accepted I'm not getting out of this. Like there's no cell service. This is like way up high, so like how is anyone going to find me in this? This is like they're good. Like I'm going to be found next summer when the snow thaws and there's just this guy in snowboarding gear on the mountain.
There'll just be a pile of gorgeous clothes.
Yeah, just I'm disintegrating. Yeah.
Sorry.
Um,
I shouldn't be laughing, you poor thing.
yeah. But so right at like 5:30 p.m., like as the sun set, I miraculously got rescued. It actually turned out to be like if I'm on this mountain, it was another mountain where a guy saw that I was in a place that I shouldn't have been. He had the wherewithal to call the rescue team at this other mountain. And I don't even know who that guy is anymore. Then at like 5:30, I hear snowmobiles, but I think I'm hallucinating still. But then it was real. And I was incredibly like rescued. It was like magical. And then it's funny when I reunited with my crew, they didn't even know I was missing because the crew split into two. So like one half of the crew thought I was with the other, and that crew thought I was with the other too. So they weren't even looking for me, and that really changed my life.
I thought the shorter near-death experience was when they found you, they all nearly killed you because they were so worried about you.
No. So that was a very harrowing, important experience for my life. And I'm very grateful for it, to be honest. I'm very grateful to have experienced a near-death situation like that in that way that is not like fast. You know, like my other near-death experience is I was in Japan riding a bike and I got hit by a truck head on. I head-on collisioned into a truck and went into the windshield of the truck. So that's a very opposite near-death experience because it happens in the blink of an eye. And you're just like, thank God. And most people's near-death experiences are like that. Like I survived a plane crash or like a car accident or something, right? But to sit with a near-death experience for like 6 hours and go through all the emotions of like anger, frustration, regret, like just living with it for 6 hours is like torture. I mean, I think that's how they torture terrorists. Like they make you think you're going to die for days and days and days to like drive you crazy, you know?
So what was the first thing you did? What was the first thing you did after you got rescued? Did you have a beer?
No, they had to check me, so I had to go to the hospital and everything. And what I did actually the next day, I immediately went back snowboarding because I knew that like I didn't want it to turn into some traumatizing phobia, you know. So
That's why.
I just went back on the horse right away. But when I got back to New York, and I remember vividly sitting back at my desk at work, you know, emails, inbox, voicemail messages unread, and it just everything got put into very clear perspective of what is important and what is static and just noise. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm very, very grateful that I went through that. I've low-key kept wanting to like, I should start a business where I recreate near-death experiences for people. So like, how do I get them? And maybe that's like what people do when they jump out of a plane or, you know, go zip lining or, you know, bungee jumping. Maybe they want to get a taste of what it feels like to like almost die. But I think it's different when you pay for the admission ticket to do it versus when it's like, you know, forced upon you.
Yeah, gosh, can you just imagine? I think it just feels good to feel alive. And did you, when you'd gone through that experience and you were back at your desk, had you changed as a person as well? Was there a sort of moment where Jeff prior to the event was maybe not as confident, maybe not as sure of himself, maybe cared too much about what other people thought, and then just, why am I bothering? Was there a kind of defining change in the way you felt about yourself in the world?
I think every creative tends to overanalyze and overcritique themselves. That's a natural behavior that we have. So I was definitely that person, you know, a worrywart, a micromanager, you know, had a lot of what's that word? Imposter syndrome. You know, am I good enough for this? And afterwards, it was just like, excuse my language, but like, fuck it, I'm alive, I'm here, like, accept it, you know. And I want to retain that. As this happened when I was this was like 25 years ago now.
Wow.
And so I want to retain that nugget of like clarity, you know. And the world, as you and I know, loves to inflict static and diversion onto you, right? And cloud your mind with that. But I always want to try to remember myself on that mountain. Like I do bring myself back to that moment, especially in times of stress, whether it's from business or from personal. I'm like, Jeff, you were on that mountain. Never forget that you were on that mountain and you dug your own grave. Like all of this will be fine. And there's that famous saying, like, this too shall pass. Like, this, it's all good. This will pass.
It's such a powerful silver lining when you go through something difficult. I went through a horrendous back injury last year and it completely put me out for the whole year. And from that, I went through a very similar experience. It's just so liberating.
Yeah.
You just let all of that stuff go. And you're right, you have to keep remembering. You have to keep going back. Otherwise, you just fall back
So easily. You mentioned the back injury. Like if you have if you ever get like food poisoning or stomach ache and it just like kills you for like a day or two, and then you come out of it and that day you're just like so relieved and so thankful and grateful that you don't have that stomach bug anymore. But then that Friday night you're probably eating nachos and hot dogs all over again.
like eating all the stuff you shouldn't.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not the smartest in that way, us humans.
No, we're not. And this is what I'm thinking, gosh, when am I going to forget? But I think like you, it's just really staying with me. So hopefully I can remember that, my own mountain moment. Maybe that's your, next entrepreneurial thing, Jeff's mountain retreats.
Yeah.
But, it's funny. You mentioned, when you were a kid and you were sort of finding friends. Is the kind of move when you were a kid, move into like the love of street art and culture, was that to find a sense of belonging in a way? Because it's such a great culture.
Yeah, I actually didn't find the love of street culture until college. So as a child, it was really about sports and I would say comics, like, cartoons was the two things. And that's a really great mix for me because on the sports side, you have pure skill and athleticism. And I do believe that design is somewhat of an athletic sport in the sense that, I'm trying to say this politely, there are good people, there are phenoms, there are great designers, and then there's like not good people, and they can go to school for like decades and they just won't be good. I hate to say that because I'm supposed to say like, no, keep going at it and you'll get good. You keep going at it and you'll get decent.
Yeah.
But it is a skill set where, no matter how many free throws you spend shooting in the gym, you won't be Michael Jordan. Like you won't be LeBron James, like I'm sorry. So I think design is very similar in that way. And that's why I love sports. And then with sports, there was also like this kind of, obviously sneakers played a huge part in sports. So that love of sneakers came from that. And just swag, like overall, if you imagine like Allen Iverson or Michael Jordan or Bo Jackson or Andre Agassi or John McEnroe, like these people had swagger, in how they wore their clothes and fashion and spoke and everything. So I adapted that. And then on the comics cartoon side, it was the artistic side, right? Like how good people are at drawing, and storytelling was also a big part. So if you break those things down to its core of storytelling, artistic expression, swag, and then skill, that was like the tenets of my life as, an 8 to 17-year-old. And so that was the baseline for me. But from what you're asking about street fashion, streetwear, street culture, or sneaker culture as a sort of thing that we know today, that didn't happen until like 1997 when I left New Jersey and went to NYU, New York University. And I think being in New York City in the mid 90s, and because my parents also worked in New York City, so I would go to New York City throughout the 80s as well. That era of New York is an incredible time. It's just like, there's plenty of movies that you can watch about like what New York looked like, and it really did look like that. So when you add that element of like raw New York City energy into the tenets that I mentioned, that is what I think like sort of sparked my brain.
Yeah, you went to college, didn't you? And looked around at all the other kids and thought, oh shit, I better dress like these cool kids.
Yeah.
That's what I would have been like. I'd have been, oh gosh, look, I'm going to have to make an effort.
I was kind of like the one that I would always want to stray from the flock in a sense, like if everybody was wearing this, I would want to stop wearing it. And then I would, in high school, I would get ridiculed a lot because of the way I was dressed. I would get bullied. And I distinctly remember getting into one physical fight altercation because of the way I dressed. It ended up turning into a fight. Yeah. So I was martyring myself for fashion early. But that turned out to be it turned out to be advantageous later on, because then it turned into, from like, on the one hand, being weird as a kid, as you get a little bit older in college, it becomes like individualism and self-expression, So it's funny how I always find throughout, there's a repeating theme in my life where like I do the same thing, but on one day people call me weird or crazy or stupid or I don't get you. And then somewhere along the line, a light switches where it's like, oh no, you're a genius. What you're doing is amazing. But the whole time I was just doing the same thing, So it's like, I think that's a lesson to a lot of young people, is like, just because people surrounding you don't really get what you're doing does not mean you're doing the wrong thing at all.
Yeah, exactly. Who wants to conform anyway?
Conform is okay sometimes in certain situations, but it's to each his own. Some people maybe are actually, not some people. 98% of the human population does want to conform,
Yeah, they want to belong.
Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah.
I don't think being an individual or individualistic is for everybody, It's a lonely road.
This season of the Creative Boom podcast is brought to you by James Cropper, a British company with global impact. From their Lake District home, they now supply designers in over 50 countries, leading the way in colour, innovation and sustainability. Their goal? Carbon neutrality and a journey to net zero. Explore their new colour source range, 50 designer shades made for a better future, at paperandpackaging.jamescropper.com. Can you remember your first sneakers?
The one that changed my life was the Air Jordan 3. But, before the Air Jordan 3, I didn't really understand. This is 1985, so I was 10 years old. I didn't understand how shoes were made. I thought shoes came out of like a sausage maker, like completely formed. Like they come out of a machine and just like, here's your shoe, right? And then when the Air Jordan 3 came out, it triggered something in my brain where I was like, wait, this is a totally different thing. Who made this? Who designed this? Like, who conceived of this? Who put this together? Whereas if you think about every other shoe before the Air Jordan 3, it was like the Converse Chuck Taylor, which is like the OG sneaker. Every shoe after the Converse Chuck Taylor was a derivative of the Chuck Taylor. Like you add a thing here, change the color there. But essentially all shoes look like the Chuck Taylor for many decades until the Air Jordan 3. And it was like, oh my God, what is this? It looks like a fighter jet and like all these different things are going on. And so that one was really life-changing for me. And the other thing that happened with that is when I wore those to school, I remember I was in the 6th grade, I saw everyone's neck get snapped. This is a sneakerhead expression where you snap necks. It basically means like someone looks
Turn
at you
heads.
and they go like this, or like their neck falls down. And I made a whole class of necks snap because of the shoes that I was wearing. And I was like, wow, this is a powerful sensation. Like I want to keep going. So every week I'm trying to make their neck snaps, and then I quickly became the sneaker guy. But again, in that high school, people didn't wear, like they wore one shoe for the whole year, the whole school year. And if you ruined the shoes and you made your mom buy you a new pair, you would get in trouble for that. So this idea of like flexing on sneakers and wearing different sneakers to match your outfits was non-existent in the mid 80s.
Wow. And
Yes.
how did you buy them? How did you buy them? Did you have a little side job? After school job?
I did. Yeah, I did. I sold comic books. I swept hair at a hair salon. When I got a little bit older, I bussed tables at the local Chinese restaurant. You're of my generation, so you'll remember VHS tapes. VCR VHS tapes. I used to work at a store that rented those, and my job was, so you remember if you returned the VCR tape without rewinding it, you would get penalized, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you get $1 penalty, and they used to write "Be kind, rewind" on the tape.
Yeah, I'd completely forgotten about that.
This is my job here. And so you have to ask yourself, well, what happens if people s- bring back their videotape and it's not rewound. Who rewinds the videotape? That was my job. I just sat there and I just put tapes in and hit the rewind button, take it out of the machine, put it back in the box, and I just rewound videotapes.
To buy sneakers.
I also delivered pizzas. That was a very fruitful job that paid well. But yeah, I just did all these like odd jobs just to be able to like, buy sneakers, which were like 50, $60 at the time.
That's amazing. So you were never shy of hard work, and that carried on
No,
after college, and you started your own design company, your own clothing label, and the rest is history. We know all the history. Do you ever sleep?
I do now. Sleep is very important. I used to not sleep. I really like, I would say between 20 and 40, like those 2 decades, I probably averaged 3 to 5 hours a night of sleep. And I wore it like a badge of honor. I was like, yeah, no sleep. Sleep is the cousin of death, like all this stuff, like, always
Hustle.
grind. Yeah, hustle culture. And then basically when I turned 40, 45, after really hustling hard and building this kind of like global brand, and having, a bunch of employees working with me and incredible stuff, like I'm a streetwear designer and I'm a 2-time college dropout. And here I am overseeing like 75 people in this global enterprise. I decided to start looking at my own health and wellness, both physically and mentally and spiritually, right? All of the three magic sort of like chakra alignments, if you could get the three aligned. The way I saw it was an investment into myself. Like, what's the point of building all of this? And then at 60, having a stroke or a heart attack or like suffering dementia or something like that, like let's now invest, just like I did into my business, into my own being, so that I have the best possible shot of continuing to do this into my hundreds, hopefully, So for the last 5 to 10 years, I've been really focusing on my health and well-being, and I'm very, very thankful for it. So sleep is a major factor in that. I'm learning that sleep is actually the undeniable thing that you can't hack your way out of. Like you could sort of biohack and life hack out of like many other things to make yourself more efficient, but not sleeping is an immutable thing that you will lose that battle. You will definitively lose the battle of no sleep.
I think, though, if you understand what it's like to run a business, there's a fear, isn't there, of being left behind, or if you don't stop, having the foot on the gas.
Yeah.
You're going to miss out. You're going to miss that big break. Yeah.
Yep. Like you're watching the competition too on social media, and you're like, man, these guys must not be sleeping. I need to like, like keep going. Like, of course, nobody shows their low light reel. They only show their highlight reel, right? So it's like, it's disturbing to watch all of that stuff.
Yeah, I just ignore the competition. But you had a breakout moment, obviously, with the pigeon dunk, which just changed everything, didn't it?
Yeah. I can show it to you. You want me to grab one?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Thank you. So can you explain it to our listeners, just in case they don't know?
This is a sneaker that I designed for Nike. It's called the Nike Pigeon Dunk. And essentially the brief was, Jeff, we want you to design a sneaker that's dedicated to New York City. And I was like, okay. I thought about it for a long time, and I was like, I mean, I know they want me to do the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty and kind of do like a touristy feel of it. But I was like, I really want to do something that only a true New Yorker who lives and breathes in New York 24/7 would like understand the inside joke of, right? And so I decided to make the entire shoe like look like a pigeon. It's got gray uppers, different shades, white hits like the wing and the lace, and then right on the back you've got the pigeon embroidered on it. And when we released this, it was crazy. It was just like a literal riot broke out at my store. And then it was on the front page of the New York City papers the next day. It was on the evening news that night. And it just really put this very subculture underground scene of sneaker collecting on a global view from that point on. And it was a very fateful day, February 22nd, 2005. Many people say that's the day that sneaker culture exploded globally because of this shoe. And, because of that, this shoe now like on Sotheby's or Christie's, if you look it up, like it's going for near six figures. It's like $100,000 to buy
I was
a
going
pair
to
of boots.
ask.
Yeah.
That's
It's
insane.
it's quite the holy grail of the culture. So yeah, I'm very honored that Nike asked me to do that. And that wasn't the first shoe I had designed for Nike. I designed probably like 10 or a dozen or so other sneakers, but this one was the one that hit really hard. And it's a blessing. It's a gift and a curse because it means so much to so many people. Like it actually gets anniversaried in the sense that like every year on February 22nd, like the internet's just talk about on this day in 2005, the Pigeon Dunk was released. So it's almost become like a holiday.
How's that make you feel?
It's incredible. I mean, I'm so blessed and grateful to have that. Um, the double-edged sword part of it is that people then they pigeonhole you, right? They
Yeah.
pigeonhole you into like you're the guy that made this, and that's it, like nothing else. And because the shadow of this is so large and wide that anything else I do is very difficult to pierce through that shadow. And it's it's very probably very similar to like a musician who made like a massive hit song, and then every other song that came out of that, like where's your next big hit? It's like, yeah, I made 5 albums. No, not those albums. We need the next. It's like, it's sort of like a gift and the curse, Yeah.
But you've not been shy of success since, and the pigeon theme carried on, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were developing a mascot for the brand, like, like how Ralph Lauren has a polo horse or Lacoste has a crocodile. Like we were exploring the idea of using a pigeon as our mascot. And then as fate would have it, that's when Nike called and said, will you make a dunk for New York City? And so that was like the sort of 1 + 1 = 10 kind of moment that could happen. And so we used this shoe as jumping off point to then create like, pigeon themed clothing. And now the whole brand is sort of like, it really is the mascot of the brand. And then I have to say it worked. It really worked.
Yeah.
I get messages all the time from people all over the world saying like, I can't look at a pigeon and not think of you or your brand. And there's a lot of pigeons in the world. So that's a lot of thinking about me and the brand, what I didn't know back then was that pigeons are infesting every major metropolitan area. I thought it was just a New York thing, but it turns out, I eventually went to, Venice and Milan and Tokyo and London. And it's like, the pigeons are very strong in every place that there's a city, a dense city, So when I released this shoe, even though I did it as a New York shoe, everyone thought it was like their shoe too, that's the cool part about how it exploded overnight worldwide.
It's so cool. And, all your clothing now, well, it had the mark of a pigeon poop for authenticity. Yes. Is that right?
Yeah.
Love that.
We put pigeon poop on items to sort of beat the bootleggers, because the bootleggers would likely not put poop on an item. But we actually have a poop art, and it's even funny story. It's even trademarked with the patent and trademark offices. So I have a government sheet of paper that just has a pigeon splat in the front of it, and it says like registered to Staple and myself. So I have pigeon poop owned and trademarked.
Well, not that we want to think about these things, but it's the gravestone. If you thought about the gravestone, you've got to have the pigeon poop on it.
The gravestone will be a pigeon poop, just like a poop. Yeah.
That's a long way in the future. Just be careful when you go snowboarding. Good grief. And now you've been running, things have evolved, but you've got Reed Art Department now, which I think has been going since 2019. But the last 12 months in particular have been really successful for you. You've been working with Brooks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've been like Brooks, the sports brand that you just would not associate with lifestyle at all. So I find this really super interesting. You're working with them to help them do that?
In a sense, yeah. It is an incredible opportunity because Brooks is this billion-dollar company that is the #1 performance running brand in America. And I've always been a fan of running in Brooks. But, as most people do, they wear performance sneakers like Nikes and Adidas to not do the sport that they were intended or designed to do. They go shopping in it. They have brunch in sneakers, right? So, and what I was noticing is that I would go for a run in Brooks, And then when I went to meet up with my friends after my run, I'd have to change my shoe. And that little instant of like, wait, why am I changing out of my Brooks to meet up with my friends? But if I'm wearing Nikes, I don't change out of the Nike. I just wear the Nikes, right? So I was like, there's a problem and an opportunity here. So I reached out to Brooks through Instagram DM. Okay.
Whoa.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years ago, I reached out to them
Good
on
grief.
DM. And we started just talking and talking. It started with DMs, then it started with like, we'll send you shoes. Then it was like, let's have a Zoom. Then it was like, come out to Seattle, which is where their headquarters is. And then I went out to Seattle like maybe 5 or 6 times. And just a lot of like hand holding and, education, really. Because their mentality, which is not wrong, was like, we're already number one in the thing that we intended to do, performance running. Anything else will just take our eyes off the real prize, like we don't want to get distracted, right? And I was like, yeah, no, get that. I respect that. And so it was really understanding what I bring to the table, what the culture brings to the table, and what the opportunity is. And finally, last year, we partnered to finally, one of the things that I always wanted to do was open the vault of Brooks. Like they always only innovate for the future, but Brooks is over 100 years old. So imagine what the archive looks like, and they never look in there.
What?
So I was like, let me dig in the archives, and actually, let me bring another shoe. Hold on.
Oh, I love this. Talk about sneakers for a whole hour. Yes, please.
You can imagine my office is it's basically a sneaker store in my office.
It's a museum.
Yeah. So this shoe is a Brooks shoe from 2004.
That's gorgeous.
Okay, so it's a 20-year-old shoe. Obviously, we redid a lot of stuff and colors and panels and everything. But when I saw the base of like just the silhouette of this shoe, I was like, this is now, guy. I mean, you talk about the 90s coming back, and then like the early aughts are coming back, right? Like when I saw this, I was like, it's time for this. And they entrusted me to like dig into the vault, bring this back out, then redesign it. And then there's the little pigeon guy on the tongue there,
So cute.
And then add my hit to it, and then we released it, and it really overnight put Brooks on the map from a lifestyle standpoint. We actually launched this at Paris Fashion Week. They've never been to a Paris Fashion Week, and when I say they never been to, I don't mean they never exhibited at Paris. Like they never even visited a Paris fashion show. So it was like very different world. Now they're there. We're doing a launch. Kids are waiting online to get a Brooks shoe for the first time ever. And that was really the number one reaction we heard, was that like these kids were just like, I've never checked for Brooks in my life. Like my mom wears Brooks to pick up my little sister at the soccer game, but like I've never checked for Brooks. So like doing this project was really great, I think, for them and for us, because it showed me anyway. I don't know if people really get it, but it showed that like we don't need to do the one trick pony of going to like the usual suspects and like creating wins. Like we have the power and the insight and the skills to do it with anybody. Another one that I'm really proud of that we work with was the brand called Cole Haan. Do you know that brand?
No.
You don't know Cole Haan? Colehaan. It's a really like traditional loafer, like an accountant would wear Cole Haan to like do his taxes.
Jeff, I'm a bit of a dork. I'm not cool like you.
Okay, look it up. I wouldn't be surprised like if you accidentally own some Cole Haan and didn't even know it.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
All right, maybe.
But we work with that brand and also made them really cool, because I recognize that there are a lot of accountants and office workers and 9-to-5ers that sit in a cubicle that secretly have a Facebook window of like sneaker culture on the side, but they have to wear this suit and tie and these loafers. But I was like, what if I created something for that guy so that he can be fly when he goes to work? And that's exactly what happened, So it's fun for me to take on these risky challenges, because the flip side of it is it could have gone really bad. Like it could have been like, man, Jeff had a great thing going until he worked with Brooks. that could have been a reality too, but I'm willing to take the gamble and do it for the greater good of Brooks, but also like my kind of like chapters in my next book of life,
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because it opens up a fascinating conversation about what makes a brand cool. How do you change the perception of a brand from what might be seen as, some
Hmm.
footwear that you are a bit embarrassed to wear maybe, but you wear it because it's functional and it's very supportive and does the job for your jog, but you're embarrassed to wear to the coffee shop or to meet your friends. How would you make a brand cool?
That question that you just asked is the most fascinating thing to me in the world. Is do you find it fascinating too?
I
Like,
find it fascinating. Like, what makes, because I want to be cool, Jeff.
I think you are cool.
Thanks, love.
But yeah, I think about that 24/7, and it goes the other way. It goes, how did this brand that was once so cool not cool anymore? Like, how did they mess that up?
Yeah.
But yeah, more often than not, I'm looking for opportunities where I see diamond in the rough, so to speak, of a brand that could really be something special. Like another one is that I think about in footwear is Crocs. Like
Yes.
5 years ago, Crocs was like an embarrassing brand to wear. And now it's like they turned it around. And I love we collaborated with Crocs. I won't take credit for that, but like we did some collaborations with Crocs while they were on their ascent that I think added fuel to the fire. But it's an awesome story to see how a brand that was like not just like no, it's not that no one didn't pay attention to Crocs. It was like people were anti Crocs. Like I would never be caught dead in a pair of Crocs. And then to turn that around in a short amount of time, relatively speaking, to be like, I need my fifth pair of Crocs now. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And swap the colors as well. Have one
Yes,
foot in one color and one foot in the
left and
other.
right.
And
Yeah, that's I can't get around that.
unbelievable.
That's not that cool.
No, no. I actually have many Crocs in many different colors, but it's for camping rather than cool. I
Oh,
haven't
okay.
quite been able to dare wear them out and about and
You
meet
won't
my
wear them
friends in
to
them.
lunch? No. Okay.
No, I just got some Flower Mountains.
Oh, very
I
very good
like,
brand.
yeah, I like Japanese design.
You didn't hear it from me. You might have heard it from a little bird, but there might be some Jeff Staple Flower Mountains coming in the near future.
Oh, incredible. Love it. I love how
Little
you said little
scoop,
bird, little
a little
pigeon.
birdie. Yeah, a little birdie. A little scoop for you there.
All right. I will look out. I'm going to
Good
make a
choice. That
note of
just
that
shows you
now.
are cool. Okay. That just shows
I
you are
know.
cool.
I've got Studio Nicholson. I've got Margaret Howell. I'm cool. Anyway, no, you're not cool if you have to say you're cool. There is so much we could talk about, and we're running out of time, sadly. Maybe we'll have to get you on the show again.
Sure.
But if there's one thing you could look back on when you sort of like look at that picture on your wall of the kid in the cul-de-sac, maybe he's wearing a baseball cap, maybe he's
Mhm.
got like a baseball. Were you into baseball? Has he got a little baseball bat on his
Mhm.
shoulder looking
Mhm.
proud?
Yep.
Maybe it's sort of like, a really kind of orange brown toned
Exactly. It
film.
is. Yes.
Is
Yes.
it? Can I see it? Can you take it off the
Yeah.
wall
Yeah.
and show us? That's crazy.
Hey, this is me in my racing car
Oh,
bed, but it's with the
that's
Mickey Mouse. Now, Mickey Mouse
cute.
is very key in my life because if you think
Okay.
about Mickey Mouse at its core is a rat, and
Hmm.
nobody likes rats, but everybody loves
No.
Mickey Mouse. And when you think about the pigeon, it's a flying rat. Nobody likes pigeons either. But what Disney did to the rat, I'm trying to do to the pigeon.
I love that. And is that, like I was going to say, if you look at that photo of yourself, what would you say to the little kid there? What was going through his
This is a
mind?
therapy session again. This is
I know, I can't help it.
okay.
I'm a girl.
What I'm supposed to say is, little Jeff, you did the thing. You would be so proud of who you've become.
Oh, but you don't want to tell him that because he needs to go through the hardship himself.
This is like the Asian tiger parent in me. It's like, no, you must grind. There's nothing is promised for you. Like the world is gonna eat you up and spit you out. So get out there and fight.
And you're still fighting.
I am still fighting, and I still even like, when people, even when you say these complimentary things to me, it makes me feel very uncomfortable. Like I don't want to take the compliment. I feel like I have a gag reflex, to be honest.
Ugh,
Because I'm afraid
yeah.
I'm afraid that if I take a compliment, it will make me complacent and then hence weak. This is my issue. I have this issue. My therapist tells me all the time, I have this issue where like there's positive and chaos, and it's on a seesaw. And for some reason, I have this thing in my brain where if something goes slightly off, it will be the end of the world. It will lead to like complete chaos and disaster. But what I need to learn, and I'm learning, is that the world is filled with grays. It's not black and white. It's actually much more gray than it is black and white. It's, if you look at the grayscale line, there's only the end is black and the end is white, but the whole middle is gray, right? But I live in this reality where like, no, if you mess up, everyone loses their job and Staple is over. Like, and that's not actually true, but it's a very sort of like, it's been programmed into me to think that way. And I need to stop. And everybody that's listening to this needs to understand that like, it's not like that.
No.
You can make mistakes, you can have wins, you can have losses, you can take a break, you can sleep 8 hours, and everything will be fine.
Absolutely. I love that. And you only have to look at the New York Pigeons to see that, some of them have lost an eye, some of them have lost an entire foot, but they're still going.
Exactly. Great analogy.
Well, thank you, Jeff, so much for your time. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you, too. This was very enjoyable.
Well, did you enjoy that? I know I certainly did. Slightly embarrassed that I asked him. I wanted to be made cool, but there you go. It was Jeff Staple. What can I say? One thing that really stuck with me was him talking about digging his own snow grave on the mountains in the Andes, then choosing to go straight back out snowboarding the very next day. I mean, you have to, don't you? You have to get back on the board as soon as possible. I guess you could say it's a really good reminder that fear can either stop us or it can sharpen us. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just crack on. If you enjoyed today's episode, as always, please subscribe to the Creative Boom podcast, share it with a friend, and leave us a quick review. It all really helps more people find the show. And don't forget, Jeff Staple will be back with us on Thursday for The Spark, where we go a little deeper and have some fun with some quick fire questions. You won't want to miss it, so I will see you then. Thanks again to James Cropper for sponsoring this season of the Creative Boom podcast. Remember, its colour source range gives designers direct access to 50 beautiful shades and a choice of textures, all crafted in the Lake District and delivered straight to your door. Explore the collection and bring your next project to life at paperandpackaging.jamescropper.com.